start the recording. Perfect. So again, welcome everyone to just join. We're going to get started because I know your time is precious and it is recorded, and we do post this to our YouTube channel. So you have many opportunities to watch this. So without further ado, welcome. This is Office Hours. If you haven't been here before, it's essentially a webinar series we like to try running once a month, give or take, where we show off new features, talk about any questions you might have, and of course, you can talk to us about any problems you might have with Vacation Tracker. This is a very special episode. We don't get Anna on for these. So I'm very excited to have her here, as we'll be looking more at where we kind of came from, what was the past year like in terms of features, as well as where we're going, what's going to be the plan for 2025. Throughout this webinar, we're actually going to have a few polls that we do want you to answer. You'll see they pop up in the chat. So whenever you have a chance, we really do appreciate your feedback, because that's how we kind of learn and we grow as a company. You'll also notice that you don't really have access to a chat. There is a Q&A. So please, if you have any questions at any point throughout this presentation, just drop them in there. We will answer them at the end, just to not disturb the flow. But at any time you have a question, drop it in there. There is no cameras besides Anna and myself. You do have a bunch of emoji reacts, so highly recommend using those to let us know if you're having a good time, if you're happy with everything. It's just so we can keep focus on the product features and what's to come. And then the last thing before I keep rambling on is we did send out an email survey yesterday. Some of you might have received it, so I'm just going to send you a friendly reminder. We really do appreciate getting your feedback. We try not to send too many surveys because we really don't want to bother you, but when we do send them, we really appreciate responses. So if you have a chance, please fill those out. All right, that's enough from the housekeeping side. Let me get ready to share my screen and we will get going. So if you give me 2 seconds here. Okay, now how do here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. So I'm not used to being presenter, so it's taking me a little second here to get adjusted.
You're so very good with like filming videos, so I had to give you a spot.
Can everyone? Okay, yeah, launch picture in picture. Thank you. All right, hopefully you guys can see my screen. Anna, can you see the presentation right now?
Yeah, I can see the presentation, yes.
Fantastic. All right, so like I said, we're going to just do a quick kind of recap of where we came from, what was launched this year, because maybe you joined Vacation Tracker partway through the year, so you don't know what was released. So it's a good refresher to kind of see what's been released, maybe some features you didn't even know about. So if I click here, so like I said, it was very exciting for us. We had some pretty big updates, I would say, to some stuff that we really do like. We have substitute approvers, which if you don't know what that means, essentially it allows you to place a substitute if someone's away. We changed accruals to include weekly accruals. That was a big demand from what I understood, and people really wanted that. I could see Anna nodding her head. So that was a big update. So we're happy about that. We had a negative brought forward just in time for the end of year. Some pretty cool features. So I'm really happy to see that these kind of came about. But we also had some deeper customization. Now we have what we call sub departments, which is basically nested loops, as you can see in the photo here, where, okay, let's say I have a big HR team, but I want to break it down further by recruitment, training. Now you can do that. We had new language choices. It's not just your standard English, French, Spanish. We had 5 extra languages, I believe. You can see them all here. So now for users or admins or approvers who log in, they can choose their preferred language, which is great. I know a lot of people might have English as a second language. I speak English and French myself. I know Anna obviously speaks Serbian. So it's nice to have extra language options available. And then, of course, length of workday, because we know that the length in a day can always change. And that, don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's obviously a little bit of a teaser of what's to come, a preamble. As my understanding was, length of workday was kind of the first step in a series of steps to having more customization options. If I'm wrong at any point, Anna, feel free to disagree. But I can see you're nodding your head so far, so that's a good sign.
You're definitely correct. So
fantastic. We also had a better way. I didn't realize this because I just assumed it was always there, but Toil came out this past year in 2024, which is crazy. So for those of you who don't know, some companies or some organizations like to offer a time off in a year policy, which basically means if you work overtime, instead of compensating you through additional pay, it's done through time off, which is nice. Some companies need that flexibility, not always liquid. And of course, every organization is different. So it's just nice to have a feature that caters to that. We also launched a bunch of add-ons. So these are additional features that you do need to purchase as an add-on, but they're very specific use cases. So you can see here, we have some for seniority entitlement. So essentially, the longer you're with the company, the more time off you get. Blackout periods. So if there's a time of year, like maybe during the holidays where things are super hectic and you don't want your employees to take time off, you can implement a blackout period. Probation period, which I believe was the most recent one, or one of the most recent ones, where when new employees are starting out, it's kind of annoying to manage time off because you're not sure if it's the right fit on both ends. So you have the probation period to ensure that they're not taking time off, or they're taking time off within the allotted agreement. And then, of course, visibility manager, which just limits visibility for certain users because privacy is always a big concern for us. And of course, this was another one I was surprised at, and Anna had to remind me, but the real-time updates, so this being able to sync with your Google and Outlook calendar, that came in 2024. Previously, it was just with the iCal link, which if you want more details on this, because I know it's a big pain point for a lot of people, we do have a bunch of video tutorials and help desk articles showing you how to set this up. A little self-promo for myself because I do record these videos, but these are great. Again, it's just nice to have in the places where you work. Like I work most in Teams and an Outlook, so to be able to see time off, for my teammates is obviously great to have there in a calendar view. And then I think this is one of the last ones we did, but the Open API, that was also a big request by a lot of companies. So now we have direct access to our leave data. You can see some of the fields here. I'm not a very technical person, so I don't know how valuable this is, but I know a lot of the more technical people definitely want something like this. And again, this is the first step in many. I know we just opened it up and it took a bit of time to get there, but I imagine there's more stuff we can do here, which obviously is very exciting. And you can see here a whole whack of changes. I didn't want to spend the whole time talking about what we did this past year because I know that's not why you're here. Everyone's definitely most excited about what's coming up. But just to kind of rattle off a few of these, you can see here we did quite a few updates when it came to the filters, accrual caps, enhancing the mobile dashboard, stuff for email. There's a lot of small things that kind of you don't realize it's a problem until it appears. So I know there was something involving, again, Anna's nodding her head, with ghost users, especially for people who don't have an email. Maybe they work at site or like that. It's not really the function. So that was kind of a little pain point that we solved. So it's just awesome to see a lot of these features. And again, there's a whole bunch more, but I figured I'd focus on the more, let's say, eye-catching stuff, the stuff that really was cool. We're going to move on. I know that it was a lot to cover already, but we have so much more good stuff to show you. But before we do, I thought this would be a good time to understand a bit more, how do we develop features? This is a question I had when I first started a vacation tracker. What's the priority? How do you decide between certain things? So I had queued up a few questions for Anna, just so we can get a better insight, because she does lead the product team. So it'll kind of be cool to hear from her end how features are developed and how the process is like. So Anna, first question, when you're ready, how do you prioritize what feature will come out next? I'm sure this is one that people always are asking about.
I cannot shake off the feeling that there's something personal in this question. So Dave also wants to know why he has to wait for
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, basically, there isn't a single answer to this question. But this is, all jokes aside, basically this is a great question to start with before introducing our upcoming features, the ones that we know for sure that will come soon, just so we can give our listeners a little insight into the reasoning behind the decision making, right? So I'll start with the positives.
Okay.
So basically, the great thing about B2B software as a service products as vacation tracker is, and with a large customer base, is that usually what drives the business is often, not always, but often the same as what solves users' problems.
Right.
Yeah. So if you look at it, satisfied users mean greater stability for our business, and prioritizing the right features will become a win-win for everyone. But, because there's always a but, with that being said, it's never without its complexities. And I sometimes like to say that choosing which features to build first or next can feel a bit like solving a Rubik's cube. Hopefully, I think everybody knows what a Rubik's cube is. So
Yeah.
basically, here each twist has to align business goals, user needs, and let's not forget technical feasibilities, right? What we start with is basically, well, as a product team and the product manager, as anybody that's developing an app, really, you have to ask a lot of questions. Sometimes I feel like a 7-year-old asking all the whys, but basic questions would be, what problem are we solving, for example, and
Right.
then how does solving it move the needle for both our customers and their business? Usually where I start off with is, of course, customer feedback,
Mhm.
market trends. That's where you guys help out, and data insights. We have a lot of customer feedback via a lot of different channels, whether it's our wonderful support team or all those forms that we put inside our app to ask for feedback, or feedback call that I schedule with those customers that are interested in speaking. And usually from there, the problem we choose to tackle first will be the one affecting the majority of users. Now, if we have a presumption that we have several, I'll call them initiatives, that are of similar impact, the next step would be collaborating with the team to weight the impact versus effort.
Mm.
Basically, because if they're similar and similarly requested, you would pick the one that requires least effort. Why? Because the customers will see them sooner. And the other thing, well, the downside, basically, the key part of strategizing is like having the responsibility to say no or not yet, because we do not have a lot of requests that are a definite no unless they have nothing to do with lead tracking.
Right.
It's just a matter of right moment and the time when they should come next. So even if you have to say no to your valued customers or your dear colleagues that you just spent team building at the beach with, basically, and even if it means temporarily disappointing them, it's simply the right thing to do. So while we always aim to understand and empathize with our users, their pain points and concerns, at time other priorities might be more important to the majority of users. So this is the key word: majority of users. And basically, that's, to put it simple, that's it.
To put it simple. Fair enough.
Yeah, this was a simple version, to be honest.
So just to summarize, just a lot of different factors, but of course, most importantly, what affects the most people, how easy is it, to create or to implement, and then
How fast
obviously, yeah,
deliver?
sorry, how fast. Okay, interesting. All right, next question. When you're ready, give me a sec. How do you determine whether something becomes a feature or an add-on? So again, for those of you, just a reminder, an add-on is a separate from the plan you're on, whether it's core complete. So I'd be curious to know how do you distinguish between the two? What decides what's what?
Mm-hmm. Well, from my point of view, this one is a bit easier to answer, because basically it's all about balance
Okay.
between value, complexity, and then relevance. What I mean by that is those features included in our plans strive to solve widespread problems that most users encounter, right? While add-ons cater to more niche needs or advanced use cases. And then the other thing would be looking at the complexity.
Mhm.
From the user point of view, I'm talking about the UX. So if implementing this would significantly impact the user experience,
Right.
or like create unnecessary clutter for those users who do not need it, it might be better as an add-on. And the last thing, but has to be mentioned, basically business side needs to be considered.
Of course.
So we do have to think through whether this functionality aligns with our pricing strategy, right? So add-ons can be a great way to provide extra value for those who need it while keeping the base product focused and accessible regarding pricing, because they do require additional work, effort, time, etc.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah,
your point about it being clutter in UI, definitely I can understand that because I'm someone who does not like seeing, a million things at once. So I think that makes the most sense, at least from a user perspective.
yeah. And if only a subset of users need them to address a specific scenario, it won't be fair for something else to wait
Hmm.
for this add-on to be created. So it's a bit different. Ultimately, the goal is to provide flexibility for like every type of user, giving them the options they need without overwhelming the base product, the
Mm.
basic.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. All right, next question. And this one is interesting. So what do you find is the most challenging part of developing a new feature? I know you're not the one maybe necessarily doing the tech aspect, but as the one who leads the projects, let's say, what's the most challenging part?
Yeah, but I'm there with them all the time, so
There you go.
I know the issues they encounter, and yeah. Well, here I have to say managing trade-offs.
Okay.
What I mean by this is that basically no feature exists in isolation. So more or less, it always impacts other parts of product. And sometimes what seems like a straightforward solution can introduce a lot of complexity.
Okay.
Sometimes we
Interesting.
plan around the complexity, sometimes it surprises us.
Right.
And coming to that, if you factor in unpredictable circumstances, which I'm sure everyone listening to this can relate to some extent, I don't know, such as absence of a team member,
Okay.
last minute changes introduced by a third-party framework, mandatory upgrades from an integration, it becomes even more pronounced. And this is exactly why we're so cautious about giving precise estimates. I know a
Right.
lot of people are asking for dates. I understand why they need them, but like this is why, and I just feel the need to explain the reasoning behind, since, well, other people can use the line, we'll make sure to forward this to our product manager, but
Hmm.
here I am now, so I just need to explain wise. I cannot, I don't have the luxury to use that line.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, we just want to avoid the moment of unmet expectations and then ensure that every
Right.
commitment we do make is realistic and dependable. And of course, finally, there is a human side. So engaging cross-functional teams and stakeholders to ensure everybody is aligned can be just as challenging as technical work. And uh, the dev team usually likes to mention the something they call the invisible tasks. So
Okay.
there's a lot of work, to say proverbially, under the hood that
Mhm.
nobody really sees a flashy new feature, but there is always a framework to be upgraded, etc. So it's countless hours of work without something to really show off with.
Mhm.
So these would be the challenges. But again, overcoming all these challenges is, from my perspective, also like what building features makes so rewarding.
Mhm.
It's where all those long hours and collaboration and creativity come to life. And then we see the satisfied users, and then we're happy, or at least we get a good feedback.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think this is the last question before we move on, but did you have a favorite release of 2024? Was there something that you were especially proud of that came out last year?
That's a really tough one. Like, that's a really tough one. I mean, it's really hard to pick a favorite because really every release feels like an achievement for the team.
For sure.
So what I do enjoy most is seeing how these releases positively impact our users, whether by simplifying a process, solving a pain point, or introducing something completely new. So it all has its perks. For example, if there is a very difficult feature that we're building that we do not have a lot of fun working on, but we
Right.
finally release it, then we're very satisfied that it's finally out and people can have benefit from it. On the other hand, there are some fun features. I had a lot of fun testing out the AI assisted onboarding.
Right.
Because it's something new, it's something that goes with the trends. Not sure about the dev though. He had to tweak all those prompts to say all the answers. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, cannot pick a favorite really.
Fair enough. I imagine it's like asking a parent to pick their favorite child. You just can't. You know, you love them equally.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So the moment that everyone's been waiting for, I hope now that people, like Anna's mentioned, we've kind of peeked behind a little bit of the curtain. You understand that we don't like to give dates, as you'll see here. This list is also subject to change, excuse me. But the goal is to have these at some point during the year. And that's why I want to kind of set the stage with all these questions so you have an understanding of okay, what it takes to create one of these features, and so on and so forth. Anyways, I'm gonna shut my mouth. Anna, I'm gonna move through the slides and you tell me when you want to go to the next slide, okay?
Sure thing.
Take it away.
Yeah. So this one was highly requested, definitely very highly requested, and it's perfectly understandable since when you have a medium to large company, simply one approver, that is one step of approval may not be enough. And this is actually nearing its completion and will be out very soon. You will, of course, receive the newsletter from our wonderful marketing team. The basic idea is basically it's an MVP. We always strive to release an MVP and then gather the feedback and see what you guys really need improved. So we will be releasing 2 levels. As you all know, both levels, I mean, first level can have several approvers, but they all receive the notification at the same time, and then the first to approve will be doing the final approval. Here you can also have multiple approvers on both levels, but they will have to go through 2 steps. So if Fred was to approve my leave requests, the next step the leave request would be going to Astrid. Only after Astrid approves 2, then the leave request will be created. So basically that's it for now.
Nice. Looking forward to seeing that coming out soon.
Me too. Believe me.
All right, next. So this is I know a bit smaller, but we also did want to again include these. So maybe you can walk us through these, Anna, and explain just briefly each of these updates.
Sure thing. So basically, for those of you who have been using us for a while, once you set a person as an approver, he won't specifically get a notification. Currently, what we did with multi-level approvals, they will be notified via the bots. And the next step that is coming very soon, they will also receive an email along with a file that explains the permissions an approver has. Custom holidays, also highly requested. Basically, currently, only the imported holidays, so those that we import from a public library get transferred to future years. And what we're planning to do next is do the same thing for custom holidays. And not only that, but we will enhance custom holidays a bit to give you guys a couple more options on how to set them, whether they're recurring, whether they repeat on specific days or dates, etc. So that should resolve a lot of issues regarding the holidays. Exports and downloads, we're striving to make the majority of valid data exportable. So audit logs, definitely. Audit logs are, company logs that you can find and see when somebody has changed something, so you can keep track of maybe some mistakes or some changes that happened. And of course, users' profile info, because of the start date and date, the department user belongs to, etc. We do have a completely new export page. The improved reports, which I won't go into details, but it offers a lot of options and it's very customizable. And I think, David, that we have mentioned that the entire office hours at some point will be dedicated to those.
Yes, we are working on that either next month or the month after, but I think we're aiming for next month to focus more on reporting again.
Great, awesome. And then reasons appearing on the shared calendar tab, and iCal calendar. Basically, currently reasons are only being visible to admins and approvers. We are planning to introduce a setting for you guys to decide whether you want to show the reason. We have had it enough of great and valuable feedback that basically explained to us why this is necessary. So, and the recurring leaves, I didn't see that you have listed this one, but similarly to recurring custom holidays, we will introduce being able to set recurring leaves, meaning that you do not have to set leaves one by one into the future, but like if David decides not to work each Thursday, for example, that'd be nice.
I'd say maybe we can make that happen, 4-day work week.
This will be simplified, so people can do that more easily.
Nice. So again, a lot of small features right now, but these are important features that, kind of annoying as they start to pile up. So I'm happy to see that we're working on these.
Definitely.
All right. New add-ons, Anna.
Yeah. So yeah, The team leave balancing that we also call max users away. Speaking of add-ons, we had a lot of requests for this one. And it's basically, if you want to set either for the entire year or for a time frame, the date range, the maximum number or percentage of members that can be on leave at the same time. So as with the other add-ons, you can always filter them by department, location, or a label, and then create some rules that work around this. And the leave duration limit was also requested a lot. Again, in a sense of add-on requests.
Right.
And basically, again, you can choose a time frame where you want to say the maximum leave duration for this time period, if it's a busy period, etc., can be, I don't know, 5 days, or if you count in hours. There is also an option to set a minimum. So some countries do have a law where it states that for PTO, you cannot take less than, I don't know, 2 weeks, for example.
Okay.
So this is for covering these scenarios. And these, again, as well as the multi-level approvals, will come very soon. I will dare to say Q1. So
Nice. Well, that's exciting. So very, very soon then, if we're talking Q1.
yeah.
All right, moving on. Some new integrations. This is
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, we have been talking about these a lot. So basically, the strategic plan is to integrate with bigger HR and payroll systems. The reason why is basically because we're not competing with them. These are comprehensive solutions that have a lot of modules, right? And we have decided on a niche. We have decided to resolve deep issues of absence tracking, leave tracking, etc. And to save people from manually entering everything into two systems, we will definitely integrate and start with the two mostly requested ones. I do have to mention that whenever we have an integration with a third-party system, it's not as easy, and it doesn't depend on us solely. So there is a lot of communication that goes back and forth. These are serious systems, and there is a lot of paperwork to be done, and then a lot of investment at the end. Most probably, the biggest ones will be free of charge, these two. Although we are paying for the integration, but still we know people really need this. And then from there, we'll probably look into other integrations, but let's talk about this later, or you please feel free to send feedback if you have an idea which one would be completely necessary. The mobile app, again, a lot of people have requested this, and it's finally coming. So yes, you will be able to download the app to your phone and then do some basic actions. So I must say that setup and settings will remain with our web app, but it's not something you do daily. It's,
Right.
You do it once or occasionally. But the main actions, requesting leaves, approving, denying, will be available via the mobile app. And the fourth one, combining the use of platforms. This should resolve a lot of issues for those companies that do not have all their employees or contractors or cooperators inside their directory. for example, Teams directory, but they still need to keep track of them. So we will provide the option, and then again, I will dare to say Q2. We will provide the option to combine these two.
Exciting stuff. There already some stuff for Q1, some stuff for Q2. So
Yeah.
far, so good. I know we said no dates, but that's already exciting to hear on my end, at least.
No way I giving out the dates.
Yeah. All right. Now I think this was a pretty big one, if I'm not mistaken, right, Anna? The scheduling.
Yeah, it's a huge one. Actually, it's the aggregate you were speaking about when you mentioned the customizable length of workday.
Yes.
So basically, what we have now, as I have mentioned, we strive to release an MVP to resolve like some issues, then gather the feedback and continue from there. So currently, again, some people may not know about it, but we do have customizable length of workday that works per location. And the default workday doesn't have to be 8 hours anymore. You can change it and put anything in between 2 and 12 hours with half-step decimal. So it can be 5.5 hours. And the next step would be to enable you guys to do this per user. So it
Seeing a
doesn't
lot
have...
of thumbs up popping up, so I can see some excitement already.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm seeing this. And then the third step would be scheduling. It's important to note that when I say scheduling, it's not actually shift planning. It's scheduling in a sense that I'm going to abuse my colleague David again and say, if David, we had all those Usos together at our team building, so I feel free to.
That's fine.
How do you like the Uso, though?
And I like what? Sorry.
The Uso, the one you thought it was.
It was okay.
It was
not my favorite, let's say.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Just had to tease David a little bit. So basically, if David was to work for 4 hours on Mondays and then not work on Tuesdays and then work for 7 hours for the rest of the week, this will be possible with this change. And the fourth step would be rotating shifts. So we can make a plan for David for the following, say, 4 weeks, and make rules for rotating them. So it's currently in the discovery phase, meaning any feedback is very valuable. Not to say that we do not have any. We do. I have spoken to a number of customers, but if you have any specific needs, please feel free to share the feedback so we can try and resolve your ideal case scenario.
Nice. Well, again, this one I know is gonna be big, so I'm very excited to see this. I know I've been shadowing a few demo calls, and that's always something that comes up, or I see in where we get feedback that people are always asking, "Hey, I have this custom work schedule, like this person works so and so." I know it's gonna be big. Very excited to see it.
And it's not an easy endeavor, so
I
to
can
make sure
imagine.
everything works as expected, we have to be very careful, but like with everything else, it'll be great at the end.
Yeah. I believe we have one last kind of tease. We didn't want to reveal too much.
You had to ask that one, didn't you?
I don't know what we can say about this, Anna, but if you have anything you can share.
Kidding. Yeah, to put some context into it. So basically, as some of you again may know, our app did start really small, and it was primarily user-centered. And our co-founders and the team, they simply needed a solution that would allow themselves to easily and promptly see who would be absent. And from a small small feature, small functionality that they have created for themselves, it has grown into a full-blown app product solution. So as we have definitely solved the issue of live visibility, but over time, and I must say with the help of all of you guys, our customers, and your feedback, we have realized just how challenging this type of tracking is for like HRs, team leaders, office managers, anyone really who deals with human resources in any way. So that's why we've shifted our focus to making your lives a bit easier, or a lot easier, hopefully. And in line with this, we are about to take a significant step in this direction, and basically hope the future of decision making is about to get smarter. And hopefully, well, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to love it. I just can't reveal all the details just yet, because like we know our competition is watching. So, but just trust us, it will be worth the wait.
Perfect. What a great way. Yeah, we are sworn to secrecy. I've been told several times not to say anything too much. So I think this is a good way to end. But don't go anywhere, because now we want to hear from you guys. I am going to go through the questions you've been asking through the chat, or through the Q&A section, excuse me. Feel free to ask more. A reminder that there's these polls that we opened up within Zoho, so please answer them if you have a chance. Again, feedback is always helpful. And yeah, if you want to stick around, I'm going to go through these questions right now. I'm going to try to go through as many as we can. If we don't have a chance to go through them, don't worry. You can, I think hello@, is the email we like to use for the.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if we don't get a chance to answer your question, or you feel like you need maybe more of a personalized help, like you can't get the answer here, you can always, send an email to hello@ or talk to our chat bots. A lot of options available. All right. The first question I have here, Anna, is: are there plans to include the dashboard in the local Teams app? I think this is a good question.
It is. I'd love to hear more details about it, because we do have the overview tab that shows a lot more details than the bot itself. So if you may need settings in the local Teams app, just please send us an email, and then we can have a feedback call. I'd love to hear more about it. Not sure what exact needs are.
Right. Now, if I'm not mistaken as well, like Teams is kind of selective, right? What you can put are those tabs, or
all the indications are. This is why I'd like to hear the feedback. Maybe something simple that people may benefit from.
For sure. This is a question that we get asked sometimes, where it's: how do we get an add-on? So how does it work? And how do we get assistance with the setup? So the add-ons, if you're an admin, you should be able to access them from the left-hand menu. There's a section called add-ons, and you'll be asked to confirm your purchase. If you need help with the setup, definitely reach out to our support team, like I mentioned, at the email hello@ or chatbot, and they can give you instructions, and they can set up a call with you if you need kind of guidance on that process.
Spot on.
Yeah, I'm learning. I know I'm still relatively new, but I feel like I'm getting better. All right. So another question here. You said time off increments could be as small as 15 minutes versus the current half day. I don't see that in my settings yet. When will it be introduced?
I'll take this one. So I'm not exactly sure who said it, but the thing is, our initial presumption was that anything less than an hour isn't really a vacation or PTO or anything similar to that, and that 15-minute leave duration would be a break. I did have feedback with some customers who did explain why they need this, because there are some rules where all of these increments must get deducted from a quota, but it's not a hard no anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just definitely not coming in the first half of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we didn't explain well. So when we said 15 minutes increments, it was the time picker that we have
Yeah.
released. So you are able, the shortest sleep duration is still 1 hour,
Mm-hmm.
but now you're able to take it avoiding the rounded hours. So it can be from 10:15 a.m. till 11:15 a.m. in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. My mistake if I misled anyone. So, like, to give an example, like if you want to take 4 hours off in a day, the 15-minute increments are, let's say you want to go from 8:15 to 12:15. It's not necessary that you can request a 15-minute leave or a 15-minute break. The lowest amount you can still request is 1 hour, at least at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Regarding the feature versus add-on, since we spoke about that, will we add an all-encompassing subscription level that would include all features and all add-ons, or is that something we don't see ourselves doing?
Actually, that is a good question, and what I highly require is to email us again at hello at,
Mm-hmm.
because we are planning something called the enterprise plan,
Right.
but the enterprise plan doesn't have all the bullets listed precisely because there is a number of companies
Mm.
that need specific configuration, and then it's best to talk to somebody from our team, possibly sales team, but feel free to send a request to hello at, and we'll try and figure something out.
Awesome. Would we ever consider a notification programming to the admins when a leave type is requested, approved, denied, etc.? I feel like we have something in place, right? They do get notified.
The thing is, this was I wasn't even here when this was decided, but I know it was a huge discussion point.
Mm-hmm.
And basically why we did this, because like these arguments won. The admin is able to see everything, right? And if he was to receive each notification, it would be a distraction, a
Right.
clutter, etc. So there's a few workarounds. You can put this admin to also be an approver for
Mm-hmm.
all the departments or the ones you may need. You can also create notifications
Right.
that go out to your email, to your admin's email. And the third thing that we are planning to do is basically, so again, would you like to receive all the notifications one by one? Because we do have a plan to create summary of notifications for
Mm-hmm.
a certain time period. So it could be summary of weekly leave requests that can go out to a person's email. So I'll just a few details more, and then we can give you the definite answer.
Gotcha. So again, there are workarounds, but to Anna's point, I do think it would be kind of a mess, especially if you're at a large organization, getting all the, what's it called, notifications for requests, denied, approve, can add up pretty quickly. All right, next question, Anna. This person would love to set holidays at, let's say, the company level and choose to have them auto applied to all locations. They currently use locations for different weekly commitments, so the holidays are the same. Is there any way to apply, let's say, from one location to the next, or is that in the roadmap?
I just love these questions. So when I mentioned the enhancing the custom holidays,
Yeah,
this is what will happen. So you will
fantastic.
get to choose all the location at once or several locations you need. So yeah.
Awesome. So there you go. It's coming. We're working on it, and hopefully very soon. This is an
Yes.
easy one. Can you disable the reason for leave? And the answer is yes. At the leave type, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anna, but I feel pretty confident. I know at the leave type level, you can choose to enable whether or not a reason is needed. So it's going to come down to whoever's the admin at your company. If you're an approver or user, you do not, I believe, have access to change that, but the admin can toggle that on or off.
Definitely. So there is a toggle that allows you to say whether a reason is mandatory or not, but the admin has to be the one that changes it.
Okay. Here's an interesting one. I'm curious to see what your response is. Has there been any discussion towards adding a lunch hour feature that does not negate from an hourly request? Often I have to separate someone's request to work around a lunch hour, so two different hourly requests, so that they don't get charged for that hour. A feature to select a lunch hour for hourly requests would be nice.
Sounds legit. Basically, this will be resolved once we can call it lunch hour or whichever
I do like the
way.
name. Lunch hour sounds pretty catchy to me.
Yeah, but basically we do have plans to introduce overlapping leaves. Of
Mhm.
course, the settings that say which ones can overlap with another. So that should resolve this issue.
Nice. I'm gonna try to go through a few more. We still have quite a few questions. Again, I know we won't be able to get through all of them. We do want to give you some time back, but we'll do a few more. And then if we don't get your question answered, excuse me, I remind you just to reach out to our support team. Again, they'll definitely put you in touch with Anna if need be, or if they need to involve her for the feedback process.
Please feel
Um,
free, because we strive on your feedback, really.
yeah, of course, we live off it, as I've been told.
Mhm.
Um, Is there a plan to add additional leave quota periods, such as we use vacation based on the hire date, but then sick time based on the calendar date or the calendar year?
I have seen this request a couple of times. It's not on the top of our priorities lists, but we are discussing it because we understand
Okay.
the need. It.
Yeah, I can imagine that comes up. Maybe not the most often, but like I can see the use case coming up.
Yeah, occasionally.
There's two rapid fire questions. I'll just go through these quickly because we did answer them. Is there a mobile app? If not, will there be one in the future? Yes, there are plans for a mobile app. We're hoping for this year. So please stay tuned. Similarly, this person was looking for a solution for multi-level approval process. Um, hopefully, that's actually going to be coming very soon. I don't want to give any dates, but maybe within the next couple weeks. Let's say, Anna, maybe next month. I don't know, but I
Multi-level
know it's
approval.
very. Sorry.
You're asking me about the date?
Well, no, I'm just saying like if we hit the ballpark for multi-level approvals, because I know it was pretty close. We're very close.
It's very close. Kidding. We're actually in the testing phase, so it's very, very close.
Awesome. Um, will I share the slide deck? Sure, I can share the slide deck. I can put it in the email if you guys want to go through it at your own leisure. That's no problem at all. Very happy to share with you. There's no secrets here at Vacation Tracker. We're very transparent. Okay, a few more. I want to make sure we get as much value out of this feature as this session as possible. What
Mhm.
is the best way to send in feature requests? This is a good question.
Mhm. So basically, you can send it to our support team, and they will definitely forward them to me.
Mhm.
Uh, it's either via hello@vacationtracker.io or the crisp chat.
Okay.
And the other way is a lot of our app pages have those anything missing buttons. You
Yeah.
may have seen them, and then we receive all of them. And I usually email you guys and ask for details or ask whether you're whether you would like to have a feedback call so you can explain your specific needs. So either way will work.
Nice. Let's go through maybe 2 more questions, Anna, because I know your time was also valuable. And then again, everyone else, please send them to our support or to whoever through the chat, and we will definitely get your answers. So this next one of the last 2, what happens to a leave request that expires? Can we get an option to turn off that automatic expiration?
We are planning on doing something similar to this, and that is allowing you to set expiration dates yourself, because now they're by default.
Mhm.
Why we even introduced this? Because we had a lot of requests from admins about forgotten leave requests that never got
For sure.
approved, etc. So it will definitely be more customizable. We may even think of having the option to turn it completely off. But
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. I'm actually going to kind of combine these 2 questions because they kind of pertain to the same thing. So essentially, these 2 people want to know if there's a way to make edits to a user profile. So let's say one of them wants to know if we could have like a note section to leave some notes based on the user. And another person wants to know if there's a possibility to upload PDFs or other files to a person's profile. So more or less more to store documents or to make notes on a person's profile.
This would go into the niche of HR fields that we have been discussing.
Mhm.
I would really love to talk to this person if
Okay.
there will. Basically, we understand the need behind PDFs. For example, if there's a sick leave and then you need doctor's approval, right, to attach with your sick leave requests. But I'm very interested in other use cases.
Okay, awesome. So for each of you, because I did combine these 2 questions, please make sure to reach out to the support, and they'll put you in touch with Anna to maybe have a chat or a call, because it sounds like an interesting feature as well. All right, I think we're at time here. I want to thank everyone for joining. I will be sending out the recording and now with these slides because people want to see them. So by all means, take a look. If you didn't, if you happen to delete the email that comes in afterwards, again, these will be posted to YouTube and I think on our website as well. So there's always access to these office hours. And yeah, anything else on your end, Anna? Anything you want to add before we shut down for the day?
No, I just want to thank everybody for their feedback and invite them to feel free to contact us at any point to explain their pain points and explain what they may need. Sometimes we're not aware of your problems and
For
are
sure.
very willing to resolve them. It's just that they have got to come to our knowledge. That's all.
Awesome. And one last reminder, sorry, I did mention it, but I'll mention it one more time, is please fill out the survey we've sent. If you didn't receive it, you will receive a survey at some point. So any times we ask for feedback, please fill it out, basically, is the moral of the story. Because as you see, it helps drive our future features as well as stuff that you want to see, whether it's little annoyances or small updates or bigger things. Cool. All right. I think we usually turn off our cameras right towards the end, and maybe let a few minutes go by. I'm not too sure. This is my first time hosting, so we're learning as we go here.
So.
There you go. There you go. So I'll probably just shut it off very soon. So again, thank you everyone and have a great rest of your Wednesday, wherever you're logging in from.
Thanks, David.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Bye everyone.
Bye.